This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Gaz, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. Oh, you guys have been waiting, and you look so good. This is Colteastwood. I am the host of the XNC of the XNC Newscast podcast, Cast of the News, and I'm here with my good friend from the UK, Gaz. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Hi, everyone. It's 1 a.m. Monday. Let's do this. I'm ready. Hi, chat. How does 400 people already in chat?
That's awesome.
And if you're listening on Spotify, I hate your face. No, I'm just kidding.
The dulcet tones on Spotify. Should we do the whole show kind of like Jez and Rand? Hi, welcome to the XNC Podcast. How are you doing, Rand? How you doing?
I'm good, Jez. Why am I Rand? Okay, I'll be Rand. I've been reading some books. And
well, to be fair, you and I and Jez talked about cookies and biscuits.
How do you do a Rand? I don't know.
No, you just go cold. I love Rand. Yeah, no, we did talk. We talked about cookies and biscuits for like an hour last week. But hey, check it out. I'm off the dew, so let's see how that goes. Done with soda.
Oh, really?
I'm done with Mountain Dew. I went through a 2-day binge of getting over the caffeine withdrawals, but I'm excited, on to a healthy 2023.
The Mass Effect helmet at the back is massive.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's the real deal. Hey, look, there's Rand right now in the chat. Colt!
What is this shit?
Yeah.
I don't know, Rand. I don't know anymore. That looks cool. Here. Can you put it on? Put it on. Yeah.
Shepard.
Oh, damn.
Shepard, get to the aft cabin.
Actually, when I do that, I sound like Optimus Prime. Autobots, transform and roll out.
Is that a blue? That blue light looks amazing on the visor.
Hey, if you go Renegade, you're like this.
You can change the lights.
This is the only time that I have paid for a collection edition of a game ever.
That's worth it. That is worth it. It's really good.
Stay.
For cosplay.
Stay. Yeah, that's the first time I've ever done that because I'm a big Mass Effect fan. We're going to talk about Mass Effect a little bit, but you had some sci-fi adventures of your own. Tell the good people a game you just finished and tell us about it. Hey, Ashtray.
I'm doing more stuff. I completed Guardians of the Galaxy today, finally. It's a long game, and I really enjoyed it. I think the at the end dragged a lot. Like you were killing these gold people a lot. I'm like, it's very repetitive. It's one of those rare games. I can't think of a game where gameplay takes second place, takes a back seat. And it's still good. I'm sure there's an obvious example where that's the case. But this game, the gameplay is pretty standard, pretty repetitive. Many of the time, the combat is easy. It's not, and then the puzzles, all of it is basic. It's the same thing over and over again. But I don't care because I'm listening to the people talk. I'm not a Marvel guy. So I actually really cared about these. I cared about these Guardians more than the on-screen Guardians of the Galaxy. So I was very surprised that the game managed to do that.
What did you think of their Peter Quill?
It was cool. It was funny. I mean, all of them. I really like Drax. Drax was hilarious in that. Rocket was pretty similar to the Rocket on screen, actually. Yeah. Drax was brilliant. The llama was brilliant. Everything was brilliant. It was so good.
Peter Quill's like, come on, guys. He says that like a million times. What about the ship? Like you kind of fly out in space. There's a little flying section. Game looked great.
The combat the flight controls were horrible, but the games were so stunning, especially at the end game. I was like, holy, this is like Mass Effect 1, the Citadel, like invasion level kind of madness, but much better visually. It was like crazy. The game was beautiful. What a beautiful game. Like, what was it, Eidos Montreal? They are madly talented. The game's not without its problems, basically the gameplay being a bit poor and it dragged on, but ultimately this game is so good that if it was exclusive, I reckon it'd be maybe a few points higher. I think Avengers put a bad taste in people's mouth.
Yeah, maybe. Did you slide around on your knees while you were shooting? Did you try to kind of keep the combat moving? Because you could do that with Star-Lord. You can like run around.
The game is all about your squad gameplay as well. Their powers refresh quite fast. So how would you start off with rockets, like grenade bind thing that would over an area of attack just brings all enemies, squishes them together, and then you use all manner of things like Groot's massive spikes, or you could use your AoE jump attack from Quill. The actual gunplay of his is weak, but the rest of the combat just made it just so overpowered. It kind of reminded me of Mass Effect with the abilities you had as well that you'd launch into in Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, your shooting is kind of like a really kind of a sluggish Returnal or Mass Effect. And you and I were talking when you were playing it, like they just need to speed up his laser guns. They shot really slow. It was like it's like, come on, guys. How many times did you close the refrigerator door?
I saw Ashtray's question on that. I was like, I did it every time. I was like, I better get an achievement for saving digital electricity here because this is ridiculous. Seriously, I kept doing it. I'm like, why did these pricks never close the fridge like it was real life? Like I was there. Like
there is no achievement for it, and we were all waiting. I got to look because a month after the game, it's so hard to type and talk. A month after the game release, Eidos Montreal says, "You all shut their fridge door." So many times. I'm going to see if I can find it. They had a stat. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. That internally, they're like, let's put this in there and see what the stats are for this. I did it so many times. I thought,
I'm looking, but it was something they tweeted out. They were like, thanks to everybody for shutting their fridge, 200,000 times or something. What a great
Apparently,
game.
there's a story payoff for that. Closing the fridge. I'm not sure. That'd be so cool. I just like, even after the credits, they show you more of it. I'm like, oh my God, I was about to turn this off. And then there's more into it. It's just, it's such a good game.
Oh, and the music was so good. Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm really, really old school. And I think at one point, I'm pretty sure this song was in there, but there's a song called The Warrior, which is an 80s, like, chick rock song, the bracelet on the fist, like rock song that I've always liked since I was a kid. And like some of these songs that popped off in the game when he had the Walkman, like, oh gosh, I hope we get more of that. I hope we do, because some of the superhero games have been great. I'm so glad you played it.
I don't care. Yeah, I know. I don't care for superhero stuff and Marvel and stuff, but I really enjoyed this so much. It's like I cared about like the characters, all the progression of the story of it. So cool, man. Like the dragon thing, everything was so cool and such cool locales. Game just, it felt like a labor of love of these developers who made this game. And then Square Enix defecates all over them for their efforts. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Right. What did the main Square Enix corporate say about Guardians last year?
Oh, it didn't perform that well. So some nonsense. It's like they were kind of putting the blame on them. I don't know what the statement was. It's just ridiculous. It's like, shut up. Like Eidos Montreal, I'm glad you parted ways, or you had to got an escape, because Square Enix did not deserve you.
Astray in the chat saying,
love you.
Ashtray in the chat says, I could not walk by without shutting the fridge door. And he's a dad, and I'm a dad. Like, dad's like, we go by and actually, my wife would laugh at me if I said that because I leave the lights on, and we've got the refrigerator door will beep. It has a little beeping alarm if you leave it open. So I'll be walking to the house after I'm making lunch. It's like, beep, beep. That's that sound. That is so cool. Well, let me read out some of the channel members and veterans before we move on. I want to talk about the game I've been playing to kind of get us rolling into the first topic here. Shout out to the Patreons and channel members. Mark Carwell, KY Bob.
Seagulls.
What's that?
Sorry. I just the music was so good. The Flock of the Seagulls.
Oh yeah,
like the old classic.
Yeah,
and I ran so far away. The music is playing whenever you huddle up, and that track comes on. I was like, yes!
The huddle up was so great, and it looked so cool. I probably took like 9 screenshots every time they would huddle up because it just looked so awesome. Cool. The way the background fades away and they come in. And I got to give props to Gaz. Last week he was singing "Careless Whisper" by George Michael, and and I went to make a little video montage to share, and Gaz was pitch perfect. He was on the right key when he just said, "Colt's never gonna dance again."
That was such a mad show.
We had so much fun.
Oh, so good.
That was so good. Let me read up these names because I'm getting really good at reading them fast, but fast and hard. Mark Caldwell, KY Bob, Assassin Loop, Jazzy Newtbox, Ricky Falon, Zimic, Manic Master, Jeremy Grigson, and channel members Matt Burns, William Lanza, Udonic Kazada, Nana Polymyth, Assassin Looper, Robert Jackson, Lord Star, Killer, Dante Moody, Betamax Stark, CMF, Fox, Storytelling, Gaz, Reek Havoc's Fault Line Center, White, Devaro 2, Poochie Remix, V Simcoe, Assassin Dub, Larry Thatcher, Hargeet, Johnny, TK Chillin, Raiden Blade, Acute Perspective, True 77, Risk It for the Biscuit, Micah Ford, Red Saurus, Quinn's Harmony, Atudadir, Pesky Krogan, and Panda Bamboo. Thank you so much. Your names will also be, yes, they're running across the top of the ticker tape of the South of the Deck and See podcast here with my co-host, Gaz McDormand, Game On Daily, and we're live. I did grow up, guys, in the 80s and 90s when all of the DJs got on and still jumped. What you gonna tell? What you talking about? Real high and then you get real low.
You do that so well.
But hey, it's all for fun. But so I'm gonna put some gameplay on the screen if that's okay. I've been having so much fun with this, so we'll start with this first.
What?
Well, the stream is a little behind, but I did have a little bit of fun with. I've been really into Interstellar, and this will just play without sound, but it's still classic. I made this, and just shared it across Twitter this week, and
so toxic. Call. It's a call.
Yeah.
They're going call.
This scene in Interstellar, like, Matthew McConaughey is such a good actor, and he plays a PlayStation pony so well.
So well. It's just absolutely. That's brilliant. He's such a piece
Assassin's like, Colt, no. I love it when.
Oh my god, they've been so salty over Starfield recently. They're so salty over Starfield.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Check out. Imagine this as being the gameplay. I'm like, what do you mean? You wish you had game with depth like this? It's like, what do you mean? Oh, you can only your cutscene laden linear fests. Is that what you want? That person sad that Sims? Look outside beyond it.
I'm trying to figure out where my
experience. People are so mad, and then there's like this talk about the internal delay or it missing the 12-month period, and everyone's like, oh, they're really desperately celebrating it. I'm like, good. If it gets delayed by, bro, we're talking about a delay of a couple of months. I don't give a damn. Just get this game. Right, if you delay this for a year, you remember the delay Halo train, that applies to this. Like, take your time. Starfield is not a game you can afford to mess up. Redfall, fine. Just release that. That would Redfield. Yeah. Everyone does that. But yeah, it's just, what the hell is that? Oh, is that Mass Effect Andromeda?
Yeah. I'm trying to fix
really
the
good.
background here. Hold on. Oh, here I am. Oh,
It
it's
looks
so
really
annoying.
good. Oh, your face
There we
is
go.
gone. It's the gas show. Oh, you brought back.
Yeah, I'm getting it while you're talking. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it just looks so good. I've never played Mass Effect. So after playing Guardians of the Galaxy, I've gone back to. I actually just started. Can you believe this? Outer Worlds. Love the game already. The vibe is so good. I thought it'd be really goofy and too over the top goofy.
Oh, yeah,
and that
yeah.
put me off for a while. But it's still got the vibe. Like, okay, it's not OTT just yet. I just wish it was a little bit more serious. But this gameplay, man, looks amazing. This looks really solid. Do you think it's worth playing for someone who loved Mass Effect 1 to 3? Is this worth
It is
playing,
so
though?
it's so interesting because I've always loved the Mass Effect trilogy like so much. And then when I played Andromeda, all of the characters suck. They're not interesting. They're actually pretty crappy and lame. The story is not that good. The enemies aren't interesting as a villain. There's no real villain. And it just becomes a really great sci-fi RPG. Like maybe it's like, hey, we really like Mass Effect, but we want to kind of rip off some of the things. So I decided to start.
Beautiful visually, the desert level. Oh, can you imagine what the next Mass Effect? We haven't even talked about the next Mass Effect. Can you imagine what that's going to be like?
I do want to talk.
Last chance.
I do want to talk
Sorry,
about
go
the next Mass Effect or Mass Effect 4 here in a second. But what happened was I played this on PC when it came out, and some of this footage here, most of this footage is me playing it on PC that I recorded.
Is that PC? Oh man.
Yeah. So the game looks the same. Like it's running at near 4K on Xbox Series X, but it runs at 30. So
You died.
I decided to.
Jumped
I
off the
forgot
edge for some
like how
reason.
you do stuff because I loaded up the game cold after playing it for it's been like 4 or 5 years.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyway, I decided I wanted something to play this month until Dead Space comes out, like all the big games. And so I loaded up Mass Effect Andromeda, and I'm like, oh, the 30 frames, my brain's like melting. And then I just kept playing it, and then I get kind of used to it, and then I become accustomed to it. And then I start opening Xbox achievements. I was like, oh my gosh. And I hate to say it publicly, but I've been really, I hate to say it publicly. I've been really enjoying my second playthrough, even though it's not enhanced on Xbox. I don't know. The just being out in space is a game. We don't get many games where you can do that, right, Gaz? Where you can go explore and.
Well, I mean, Elite Dangerous, Star Citizen, and maybe a few space sims that we don't really know. I haven't played that many. Not like this game. So a lot of people are like, this is a No Man's Sky clone. It's not, man. This is a full-fledged RPG experience that you get in your Skyrim and Fallout of all games, plus space, plus all that extra. You know, when we were danked out playing No Man's Sky and Party Chat, and it was just like so cool, like
so great.
The ships flying above, and now imagine that, and people complain. I think the game looks. Look, guys, you need to watch some of the sizzle reel stuff that they showed of other planets and the fauna. I thought the game looks great. I thought it looked beautiful. Yeah, the performance choppy, but art style wise, it looked amazing. Even raw visual fidelity. Some textures on the gameplay segment looked a bit weak, but when they show the sizzle reel of the third person walking on the desert planet and all this fauna and the big, I don't know, that Bronchiosaurus. I forgot all my dinosaur names. But whatever alien version of that,
Right,
the long
yeah.
neck giraffe thing. Yeah, it's like, it just looks amazing to me. It's like, what so many people want this game to fail, and I'm talking about fanboys just want Starfield to fail. I think so. And there was a conversation I had on Twitter, and people are guessing what the Metacritic score is. Let's use this as the official. Lock it in now, people. Lock it in now. Not when the gameplay footage. Let's lock it in now. Well, we could do it later, but what Metacritic score do you think this okay? I know we don't care about Metacritic. Just shut up and just do it anyway, just for the sake of conversation.
Well, we could say instead of saying Metacritic, because OpenCritic is a better metric because it'll be on Xbox and PC, and then there'll be two different scores. I could put up a poll for a out of 10, which is what most people do for what they get for a score. Let's see where.
So Big Data 2 says 92. I say 91, which I think is a
here it is.
conservative score in many ways.
Okay. Starfield. All right. Starfield prediction score.
90. Bubba 88. Bubba.
So I can add 4 options. So I'll add a 9 to 10, which I know people will hope and dream. Let's say 8 to 9. It's kind of tough to do this because
I mean they're doing to the 90s to 100, so you might want to do a 70 to 80 or blah. So a lot of high 80s, some low 90s.
I'm just gonna do 3 here. Let's see.
Okay. Right.
So I'm putting up this is Starfield prediction score 9 through 10, or an 8 through 9 out of 10, or a 7 through 8 out of 10.
100.
I mean, I'll say. Can I say what I think it'll be?
No, you can't. You got repetition in your fucking poll. 8 to 9 and 9 to 10. It should be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 1 number. If I would have done hundreds, I could have done 90 to 100. But
I'll put 9 to 10 because it means 91. 80. Treat the 8 to 9 as the 80 to 89.
Look at them all writing it in there.
So
I think the game's going to launch.
I
I think it's going to get in 88, maybe in 89. I don't know if it's in the 90s. It really depends on if
88.
Starfield.
Do you think 88 is good?
It depends on one thing, and it's not bugs or performance. It depends on if that story about finding supernatural alien artifacts, if that story is really compelling. Why is this Mass Effect? I have a clip from Mass Effect 2 or 3 in here. I didn't realize that. It depends on if that story's really good. And in my experience, Fallout 3 and 4 and Skyrim's main story, I don't like it. I just like being out in the open. I don't like we're forcing you to go this way and listen to the story.
You don't like that? What?
I don't. Whenever I play Fallout or Skyrim or those games like that, like when you're doing the main missions, they have you so guided along a path, it destroys all of the exploration and the freeform freedom that it makes the game so incredible. So if you're playing Starfield and it's like, all right, your main quest says go meet with the Constellation, they're going to send you to a planet. That could be some big cool moments. But if you have to go back and talk to them, you're like, I just want to go out to where I'm looking for things. The story has to be good. What do you think?
I think that's amazing what they're doing. I think you get the best of both worlds. They didn't make 1,000 procedural generated planets for nothing. So you're going to get a core story like that, which will be more tighter, controlled, scripted narrative moments. But they then get to cater and curate that for big set pieces that the procedurally generated world may not necessarily allow. So I'm really looking forward to the strength of that core narrative. What I want after the story ends is for it to retain that intrigue as well, by not doing a cheap cliffhanger moment where you're like, well, the aliens are the Halfringers. Yeah. So it's like the Harbingers in Mass Effect 1. Actually, that was really good. That was amazing. You're like, what was it? But then you defeated them. It makes no sense. So but then there's an armada coming. So there's like that kind of, there's a promise of more. I can't wait to carry on playing it. Skyrim told its story and it ended, but people still desperate to experience more of the world. Sorry, go.
No, I was just saying the collectors were like the first line of gathering and harvesting people for the Reapers to come in the third game. It all ties together really well. It's just Andromeda just doesn't have that. If we're going back to Mass Effect for 2 seconds, Andromeda just doesn't have that. They have these ugly aliens that don't look menacing. They don't really look. There's nothing really scary about them. We don't, like you and I've talked about on the show, we don't know what Starfield offers. Are there going to be humanoid enemies? Are you going to go onto a planet and there's going to be bipedal, green-skinned aliens with laser pistols? I don't know.
Oh man, Mass Effect. BioWare know that this is their last chance, and this is their best chance. It's Mass Effect. So I mean, we give them benefit of the doubt, multiple failures over, but wow, Mass Effect Andromeda's hair looks disgustingly bad.
Are you seeing that? Yeah, this the waxy hair.
What the hell is that? What is up with the visuals? It looks like cell shaded cartoony in some bits. The character looks so cartoony.
I think what they did was they thought, oh, we can make the characters look more animated and more detailed. And what was lost was the realistic look. I remember, I mean, even when I went back and played Mass Effect Trilogy, I look at those older visuals and I'm like, man, they nailed it. Like that's timeless. That's always going to look good. And to me, it felt like I was playing a better Star Wars game than I've ever watched a Star Wars movie. So, but
this
the
is like the
combat's
Disney equivalent of the new Star Wars kind of thing. It's like a really toned down vibe. It's like, what? I'm surprised by it. I mean, the rest of it looks weird. It's just the art style looks weird. Like the main character looks just super cartoony. Like this is Fortnite. What is this?
Yes, that's what I thought. I was playing this. This is footage I played on my PC about an hour or two ago, and I did 2 matches of multiplayer with randoms, no mic, and I was like, I've been playing a lot of Fortnite. I'm like, this is like if Fortnite had more realistic texture work. It's about all, you know, the same geometry of the characters. They still kind of look stylized, but the combat's fantastic. All right. That's, I don't know. That's shout out to almost 800 people listening to us talk about Mass Effect and Starfield. We've got a lot to talk about Starfield today, but I want to shift gears. There's about maybe 5 or 6 minutes of this footage. I'll let it run out and then we'll move on. But there's a question that's popped up lately from like Jeff Keighley's Game Awards account asking the world, what is the greatest video game story ever told in gaming? And I asked Gaz before the show, think long and really hard about.
I didn't think after you asked me that. So okay.
The thought is just like fizzled out into the ether. What is the greatest story ever told in video games? And what has been the unanimous answer on social media, Gaz? Have you heard what most people are saying is the greatest video game story ever told?
I saw a lot of people pick The Last of Us, and I thought, my God, what terrible taste you have. Like, the story of The Last of Us is the most... we were talking about this in a WhatsApp group, actually, a group of friends of ours. They were like, it's the most generic story, like the zombie survival story. It's literally The Walking Dead, except you've got Carl and Rick. Coral. I mean, as a story premise, but in video game form, has a game delivered that kind of a story or any kind of story so emotionally, like the performance-wise, like voice acting and even the facial capture? But then I get it. Then I'm like, all right, fine, because in terms of actual acting and delivery and visual fidelity of what you showed, the performance was brilliant. But that doesn't make it the best story. That's just the most generic survival story. It's the Sony template. Build a connection between a couple of people. That's not a good story. I mean, there's... Bro, Halo Infinite's actual... Not Halo Infinite, sorry. Halo CE or Halo... the actual story... Metal Gear Solid 1. Do you know how amazing that was my number one game story that had me hooked. I remembered every moment and I found it so confusing. But it was amazing. You met Psycho Mantis. It was like, what the hell is going on? Like, who is this guy? Revolver Ocelot. He's crazy. Then you met
that
Raiden.
Was so good. Man,
Raiden with a freaking... He's like, who is he? Like, what is going on? This game is amazing. I'm stealth mode, and there are these all these super soldiers. Yeah, 1998. It was amazing. And,
I played the demo on a Pizza Hut disc. Shout out to the people who played the demo of Metal Gear Solid on the PS1 on a Pizza Hut disc, and it came with Cool Borders and Crash Bandicoot. And
Cool Borders. Oh my god. Remember, there was another snowboarding game I loved. I still listen to the soundtrack.
There's one called 1080, and then there was...
Not 1080, it was on PlayStation. 1080 was really good.
That was on PlayStation, wasn't it? Anyway.
And sorry, I'm losing. Yeah, but anyway, in terms of story, it was Metal Gear Solid 1, man. Like, that was really good for me. When the Sniper Wolf was getting shot, I felt it. I was so scared to leave her side Meryl was getting shot by Sniper Wolf, and I genuinely hated Sniper Wolf, and I couldn't handle it every time she took a shot. So I had to run back and trying to get her. When I came back, the body disappeared. And then there was a interrogation scene. You had to mash the buttons. And I was so bad at it at the time. I thought maybe you're supposed to just give up. And you do give up. She dies. Meryl dies. So it's like, oh, man. SSX Tricky.
Wow, you have a good memory. Remembering her name was Meryl. Holy smokes.
The game stuck to me. Yeah.
It's so good. I often say on here that there was like 10 years where I wasn't really gaming, and I did play some stuff, and my brother-in-law was like 14 way back then, and we would play on his PlayStation all the time, and we would play Metal Gear, because I said, dude, you got to try this demo, because I played this game on the Nintendo, and it was like groundbreaking for that genre at the time. There wasn't anything like it. I said, this is going to be something cool. And we played through the demo like 9 times. And then I got him to buy the game. And you fight, remember you pull Emmerich or something out of the locker. He's like peed himself. He's hiding in a locker because that stealth like mechanical ninja is out there like killing everybody.
Yeah.
And he's like I'm in here and I wet myself because Kojima likes to have people pee and poop in his games. And my brother-in-law and we're trading the controller back and forth, taking turns trying to beat this ninja. And then there's this one scene where it changed the story. You're in like a electric torture chair, like to get information out of Snake, and you have to mash the button, and we would we would put it on the futon, and I'd go, and then I'd hand it, I know it looks, you got to clip it, and then he would be sitting right next to me, and we had it timed where I would shovel the controller over to him, and then he would like. Because my arm would like start seizing up, and then he was like, I got it. Anyway.
I assumed Meryl was going to die and Otacon was supposed to live. So I went into school. I'm like, oh, man, that was sad. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, Meryl doesn't die. I'm like, what do you mean Meryl doesn't die? That's how I found out. So I'm like, he goes, you don't. She doesn't die. Did you skip the torture scene? I was like, what do you mean? Of course. Oh, is it possible? He goes, no, it is possible. You're just bad at it. I was like, what? No. I went back and I always let her die. I just failed. I mean, no matter how many times I go back. Those are the moments. There's like unique, like how is the best gaming story?
You cared about the characters.
Survival story. The only good thing about it's not the only good thing. The Last of Us was the unique thing about its story was the ending, where the cure was in Ellie, and the sacrificial point of that, and the humanity there, and the choice that Joel makes, like almost a paternal choice, for forsaking the rest of the world, because this whole story has showed you just spent the whole of the story rearing. It just showed humanity's ugly side. Why would Joel elect to sacrifice his replacement daughter
child
for that? So in that sense it elevated it, but that's a specific quirk to that story which is very generic, so I mean
there's a lot of people that talk about the moment like Winter in The Last of Us, and the way that the Ellie and Joel bond, and you get a great sense of it. It's the highlight of The Last of Us Part 2 is the flashbacks of their time together, just spending time together. I haven't played
that. I'm starting to play that. It's just the spoilers have done that. I'm going to play that after I play The Outer Worlds. I'll play that.
Okay. So there's that TV show is the reason why we bring it up, and everyone's talking about it. It started now on HBO Max, if that's available in your country, whatever. But everyone's talking about it, and it is. I've heard it's better than the Master Chief show. Or whatever it's called. What's that show called? Master Chief Show?
Master Chief?
The show featuring Master Chief?
I can't comment on the Master Chief show because I haven't watched it. I have, as a massive Halo fan, I just don't even want to watch it because of this shit I've seen. Like, sorry, swore. Because of the shoot I've seen, it's just
shoot.
like
You see the
just
Cortana,
breaking
you
my
see
memory. I mean, it's just not even canon. And you made a 10. Anyway, I'm going to shut up because people are going to be like, but I stayed quiet and I just watched the internet, just watched it back because you clearly have a low tolerance for my Halo bashing. And I just saw people like so angry at Paramount and 343 and Xbox. Like, why can't we? This is what happens when you stick closely and respect the source material. Yes, I'm with people there. Sometimes it's good to take a divergent look at it. With Halo, it made no sense. It's just so strongly entrenched, and you've got so much lore that absolutely dominates the story in games. I'm sorry, the story of Halo in books just absolutely craps on the story of Halo in games. There's so much potential. Give it to another studio to make the precursor, the Forerunner saga, when they go back and fight against the precursor like we talked about before. That would be epic. Just do Machine Games doing that or something different, a different studio. But it just goes to show it's frustrating as a Halo fan and, Xbox fan. Like, where's the win? You want to do the TV stuff. Sony did it.
I don't need a TV win. I just want Xbox to make good games.
It's an extension of your lore. I mean, we all would want that. Let them try and do that first as well. Let's be honest, man. But I mean, they're getting there, and it's finally there. It's just frustrating as a Halo fan. Like, Halo Infinite didn't hit the story. It's commercially successful, but it didn't. Like, there's so much in Halo's story, and they've greenlit number 2. With The Last of Us is just, I'll watch it. It's just an example of why, like a good win for the studio, Naughty Dog, and the story. I don't know. I will watch it. I'm in no mad rush to watch either ones, but you're going to see a lot more of this. Gran Turismo is going to get a movie. What the hell is that going to be about? I love car game.
I know.
Movies.
I know.
Movies. Could be good, but I doubt it. I don't know.
I mean, how many video game adaptions have you liked in your life? Like, I loved the Mortal Kombat movie in '95. I don't know. I just thought it was really fun, but I don't know.
It was a pretty crap movie, but it was really good at the time. Who remembers when the first Resident Evil movie came out? I loved it at the time. It was so cheesy, but the laser cutting people up, such bad CGI. Silent Hill, the movie, was really good. It kind of really hit the unsettling Silent Hill vibes when the siren went off, like, and then the pyramid head comes in. It's like, that was scary. That was a bit unsettling, and I liked that. In terms of game to anime adaptation, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, that's like, holy, that was so good. That was so good.
This also in the chat says, "Where's my Banjo cartoon?" Yeah, exactly. Let's put Banjo on a cartoon and leave him off of video games. Leave him off of Xbox. Let me read some supers here. John TJ, thank you so much for the 2. Says, "Hi guys." Hi, John TJ. Good old Collingwood, thank you for the Australian 2. Says, "Colt, where's a suit? I want to see Gaz in a suit." You've seen Gaz in a suit. He wears it in his videos.
Yeah, that was my tailor-made suit that I got in Thailand. The first time I wear it is for this Source video. And my Giuseppe t-shirt. You could see it was all creased up because I just opened it after like 3/4 of a year in a box.
How much was that t-shirt?
Let's not talk about that.
Gosh, when we meet, I'm gonna teach you how to budget your checkbook.
I'm so bad. I need that. I'm so bad with my money.
Selfish Burrito with the 11.99 euro says, wait, I think it's a euro. I'm sorry. Last Monday Night Football, the season. Cheers for saving this Irish lad from having to listen to terrible commentary all the year while I ruin my sleep schedule. Always remember, let us compete. Thank you, Selfish. Yeah. Dusty Patterson sends a $5 super and says, was meant to type, had to change the password. He says, I wanted to say, happy to be here. Take my money, laugh out loud. No, Dusty, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Assassin, good friend of mine, thank you for the 5. He says, Guess Gaz and all of us in the chat right now grilling Jez about Scalebound last week. Also ironic, he threw Nick under the bus when Nick says this. I could move on, but let's talk about
Nick.
No, let's talk about I almost said Starfield. Let's talk about Scalebound. I was going to ask you to dig into this, but what's going on with Scalebound?
So, Special Nick Source said that he thinks that the game is back and in early stages of planning. So now you know it's definitely bullshit. Just kidding.
Do it.
Come on, Nick.
Ooh, yeah, BioShock. Okay.
If it's true.
Wait, hold. Pause on the Scalebound. Pause on the Scalebound. Pause on the
Nothing
Scalebound.
is BS.
Pause on the Scalebound.
Nonsense. It's nonsense. Sorry.
BioShock. Oh, man, people are gonna make fun of me, but BioShock Infinite was probably one of the most memorable story experiences I had. The story of him with Elizabeth and the transformation, and then the twist around ending at the end, the whole religious revival area up in the clouds, that I was like waiting from beat to beat on the edge of my seat. And really, that story really stayed with me. Another one, if you want to talk about the story of all time, Red Dead Redemption made me tear up twice. Red Dead Redemption 2. I even teared up in 1. In 2, there were 2 spots where I was like, oh man, that's really good. Really good storytelling. The characters are they feel real. You're invested in the story. And many games we don't get that. We just get shooty, looty, kablooty.
It's true. I was also watching some clips someone shared of Gears of War 2, where I personally think Gears of War 2 story peaked when Dom was watching his wife. Yeah, I get it. People like Gears of War 3 when Dom died, that was a big tear. I mean, I felt like it was coming. It was still a moment.
He was like, Leroy Jenkins. And I was like,
hey, thumbs up, let's do this. Leroy Jenkins. I'll go, oh, bye, Dom. I'm sure he really wanted to die. After his wife died in 2, he just needed any excuse to just pummel through his. You know what? No, Mark, this is the only way. Thumbs up, let's do this. Leroy
Dom was like, I'm getting so sick of hearing, revive me. I'm out of here.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was a moment. Actually, I still remember his wife. Think about what happened, man. His wife was like this messed up husk, through some, what was it, insane torture assimilation from the locusts, completely, imagine that to your loved one, and then he had to put the gun up next to her and shoot her. I was like, geez, that's raw. That's pretty mad. That's pretty heavy for Gears. And I'm so sick of their stupid bro dude attitude in the stories, man. You guys are, anyone who supports that's killing the narrative potential of Gears. That's what I'm saying. The next Gears or whatever needs to just be serious. They started off with Kate, and then it's just turned into stupid. Oh wow! Well, at least we survived that one. There was a crazy insert little joke as we chainsaw a worm, gigantic, the size of 5 skyscrapers. What? And then this big giant robot mechs they introduced into it. And it was like the stupid. What's that? Bad? Oh, he's so annoying. The character's so crap.
And then at the end of noticed that's a trend?
They give you a choice, and you have to kill someone. Except I don't know who I killed because this game's. I didn't mean to do that.
I mean that is a trend in video games. I can't tell you. I actually almost every video game lately. When I was playing Mass Effect Andromeda, I was like, oh my gosh, they did it 5 years ago. This has been going on for a long time. Where something is really dire, and my character, who looks like a derpy version of me, is standing there, and I have an option to say something like, oh no, what are we going to do now? And my character goes, well, diggly dang, I guess that means no one's getting scrambled eggs tomorrow. I'm like, what the? And I made fun of this with the Need for Speed game, and it's just, you could do it in Guardians of the Galaxy. That game has the right tone, but Fallout 4 had that problem as well. Like people are melting in their town, and there are people dying. They're burying them out in the backyard. And their character's like, "Well, I guess more Nuka-Cola for me." I want that writing to go away. I'm getting tired of it because I think the gaming industry, we've all matured. Everybody here who's watching the show, you're the mean group of age of gamers who are in their 30s or maybe even older, and you don't want shoo-be-doo-doop, shoo-be-doo-doop-doo-doo, right? I don't know how to explain it. Let me read a couple.
It actually works. It works.
I mean, Gotham Knights did it too. Gotham Knights is really great, but they just couldn't do that game without making jokes, and then every time you're in the tower, what's his name? Alfred's like, "If Master Wayne was here, he would have been so proud of you." And then Red Hood or whatever's like, "Ramen noodles have never been as curly since Bruce Wayne was gone. Am I right?"
Really?
No, it's not a real line, but I'm just...
I was going to say, really? That kind of sunset.
And then Robin's over there with an ironing board.
A little bit more seriousness.
And he's ironing the noodles. What?
I just think I'm genuinely I want more serious narratives in Microsoft RPGs as well. Like, I like it. Okay, even Fable, right? Fable had this comedy thing.
Yeah.
And
you can go up to somebody in the town in Fable and like shake their hand. They're like, "Huh? Oh." And then you're like, "Oh, oh, oh." Like, that's the voice acting, and then you go, and they're like,
yeah, exactly. There's fart gags and stuff.
You know who didn't do that? Callisto Protocol was nice and serious and gruff all the way through.
And Callisto Protocol, and it's failed. Like they thought, they estimated that game to sell 5 million. Apparently, it cost them 160 million to make. This is not AA budget like people thought. It's squarely AAA territory.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad for the studio because, well, they did have fundamental issues with the game, but I loved it. I could see what they were aiming for, and I liked a lot of their execution for it. But, that studio now madly talented. I'm not worried about them as a collective. Hopefully they get snapped up because that's an amazing... I don't know why it was so expensive, but maybe they can revisit
PlayStation
now that the engine's built. Oh yeah, the mocap people and
they paid Josh Duhamel.
Marketing. Oh, I don't know how much they paid him. I mean, 160
He did a good
million.
job though. Like, his lines, like he didn't try. There wasn't any comic relief written in there, thankfully. Every reaction is what you would expect someone to react in that situation, instead of like using it to make like to break the ice. That stuff just gets annoying.
A lot of chat actually don't want serious. So Alvin says, "Serious narratives deliberately keep me from games. They're my fun hobby, like to keep him that way." That's a bit weird. That's just an art form, and you want to experience something. Like, just because it's interactive makes it even deeper. Max Payne is a good example where it's very violent, very dark, but also quite noir and some funny, almost Die Hard vibes.
If you're a good writer, you can pull it off. Like when you play Red Dead Redemption 2, guys, you'll see at moments where Arthur will make a joke or one of the characters will make something, but it's so sparse and it's so appropriately used because those people are amazing writers. But I really feel like the past 10 years, it's been a trend for video games as we kind of weave out of that best story told in video gaming, that it's been a trend to crack jokes at every possible moment. Like you're supposed to... Like the gamer's going to get bored if they don't get enough jokes. Let me read a couple supers here. Diz Guy, or Jose Linares as he used to be called, welcome to the channel for early access. So you're a channel member, so you'll get the videos the night before they go up. And then you can say, "Hi, second." Yeah. Risk it for the biscuit with an Australian $8 says, "Here's the thing. A release Starfield with a few bugs, 30 FPS that needs patching makes money. A delayed Starfield looks bad and don't make sense." He says sense as in money. I'm going to read that again.
What?
Here's the thing. A released Starfield with a few bugs, 30 FPS that needs patching makes money. I think he's saying if the game comes out, they can start making money on it. A delayed Starfield looks bad on Xbox, I'm going to fill in the blanks for him, and doesn't make them money while it's delayed. Gaz.
Well, I think like a gamer. I don't care what makes Microsoft more money. I'd rather they delay it and deliver the definitive experience, the best experience I could get day one. Who cares? It's Microsoft. Who gives a damn how much money they make? They will make money one way or the other with Starfield. They make less if they launch it with bugs. No, why would you? What's the point? Forget Microsoft's wallets. Release the best Starfield. We want the best game day one. Look, man, with the moment nowadays, we're so used to post-patching in experiences. It takes the mick, because when you first boot up a game, that's one of the best moments for that game. It's a story game. Boom, you're going into it. You want the best possible minute zero experience. I don't care if Microsoft loses more money. Everyone's like, even if the conversation is about best release window, then I will say, yeah, fine. You can, in that conversation, go after before Zelda. It would be nice for the community to rally up behind this game, but that's still a separate issue to quality. I don't care about no. If it comes out in September or November or even December or next year, delay it. As long as Microsoft can sort out the rest of its ship, delay this game, because this game is good, has the potential to be special. If it's 20 years in the making, I can wait for another 3 years or 3 months or 6 months at worst. We're talking about, the rumor mill and Rand and Jez are more speculating that this will miss the 12-month window. Good. Not good, sorry. Bad, because you share that on Twitter and you had a poll. Most people thought it was coming before July, which you might do. I have no idea. Guys, I'm around this circle that stuff.
I know, I've heard both.
But I don't care. March or September. Just give them time. But it's a bad look for Microsoft. Another broken promise. But
yeah. Risk It says, Gaz, you need to look at it from a business perspective.
Why?
Let me speak on that for a moment. I'm fairly confident that if Bethesda was still independent, that they would have released Starfield already. Now, this is going to sound a little crazy because you and I have had our rants and raves over the past year of Microsoft's missteps or their mismanagement with their studios. But I'm very confident that if Bethesda was not owned by Xbox, that they would have released Starfield either at the beginning of the year or in November. I think pressure from Xbox to not ruin their first tentpole, big major AAA exclusive next to Redfall has brought Xbox into a new paradigm where they're no longer going to Halo Infinite their games. And so when Risk It says, right? So when Risk It says you need to look at it from a business perspective, Xbox knows full well, and they saw what happened to their revenue stream of Game Pass and Halo Infinite when they dropped it when it wasn't ready. That Xbox now knows if they wait till they get it right, the game's going to come out. It'll be big pre-orders, big sales, huge word of mouth, great review scores.
Wait till it's
and then that will.
You're in agreement with me.
I am in 100% agreement with you, because
the business model you just said is quality. Sustain quality by delaying it. That's what you've just said. Microsoft don't want to repeat Halo Infinite's problems, so delay it. Get it right. Those are your words, and then release it, because you don't want to repeat. What does that mean? Microsoft is quality. Is concerned about quality. If that's the case, if what you've just said is true, Microsoft, I know you're guessing, but Microsoft told Bethesda, nope, it's not good enough. Finally, that's a great sign. Microsoft is doing what we've been berating them to do, what David Jaffe was saying Sony do. They send a team out there and they have the balls to say, nope, I know you want to release it, God Howard, but shut your mouth. That's not too janky. We do not want this. Take your time. Would it be better if we gave you more time? Can you fix that? Yes, you can. Take your time. Well done.
I mean,
well done,
haven't you been
Microsoft. If that's the case.
Yes. Audience, have you been scratching your head wondering, where's Avowed? Why isn't Forza Motorsport out? Like, that game could have come out 2 years ago or a year ago or this year, maybe, right? Where is Redfall? Why isn't Starfield out yet? Where's Fable? Why haven't we seen Perfect Dark? We know these studios are working on them. We haven't heard any, like, super horrible tragedies like the studios like catching on fire or being filled with macaroni and cheese. And it only points to finally after getting kicked in the nuts for 2 years over Halo Infinite, that it seems like Xbox management have said, look, these games, this is so funny. Rand asked me, I got to say this. These games are so big. Like, there's no way these games aren't good. All those games I named are really, really good. I'm sure of it. And they cannot come out partially baked like Cyberpunk did, or like Battlefield 2049, where the devs were begging the publishers to wait. And they said, no, we want to start making money. They were taking Risket's position where they're like, the publisher's like, but if we don't release the game, we can't make money. And the developers are like, if you make us release a broken game, your sales are going to get just sliced. And they did. Now, Rand asked me, sometimes I bring up conversations I have with Rand. Rand said, if you were talking to Phil Spencer, what would you tell him frustrates you the most? And I said, okay. And I'm really good at recreating something that I think I would say if I was in the moment. And I kind of got into character, and I thought, if I was talking to Phil on a party chat, and
you have done. You've been in party chat with them loads of times,
right? And if he asked me, Cole, what is your biggest problem with the way that you think we're doing things at Xbox? Go ahead and be honest. I would say you have really great games. Like, all these games you've projected out, no doubt they are really cool. Avowed, Redfall, Starfield, Perfect Dark, Fable, Forza Motorsport, like, all those games are, I mean, they've got to be great. How could they not? They're amazing. They're so cool, and the teams behind them are so great, and they have proven track records. I would say all these games are really great. You just need to instill that, show that confidence as a team that you're willing to talk about those games whenever anybody puts a question mark up. And I feel like the team at Xbox doesn't. And this isn't a rant. I think Xbox has so much going for them right now. They should be opening their mouths a lot more, because I think they can back it up. The games will speak for it. Don't you think, guys?
I think so. I wish you said this to Phil in your party chat.
Well, never asked me.
Look, maybe he wants to know that from you.
I mean, Aaron's asked me things like that, but, he doesn't make those decisions, Also, let me shoehorn in real quick that, like we said last week, I'm sure Aaron wishes he could market way more. I feel like maybe Jess is right, that there might be some people behind the scenes that are like, just calm it down, we're not ready yet. Go ahead, guys, sorry.
What would I say to Phil Spencer? Oh my God.
I'll
be very careful because I don't want to piss him off.
Get into character, because he's, you have to say things that you want to say, but, like, how would you say it if you were really talking to him?
I said, this is how I would ask Phil Spencer on a level. This is like party chat. Like, Phil, look, on a level, just be honest with me. I would say this to him, even though you'll always be honest, but by saying be honest with me is like, let's just cut the marketing fluff out. Phil, like, what's your take on Halo Infinite and 343, man? Because to me,
he would tell you the truth. I know what he would say.
Yeah, but don't say it. But yeah, I mean, it's not your place to say it to people, man. Like, that's not cool. Don't do that. Just as mates or whatever.
No. I mean, he hasn't said. I mean, I've heard him say it in interviews.
You about it.
No. Like, Phil would say,
don't repeat that.
We came. No, Phil has said in interviews, like, we've fallen short in certain areas. We're making great strides. We're making changes because we know how important Halo is to us. That's what he'd say. But go ahead.
Yeah, but that's a marketing answer. I want the real answer. I want Phil Spencer to say,
he'd give you that answer.
You know what I think Phil Spencer would say? Like on a level, like, be raw. He's just like, but after they're good people and all there. Like, just shut up. No, just be honest. Just tell me how you felt. I know it hurt. I know it pissed you off. Just say it. He's like, and he'll be like, yes, it did. And 343, man. It's like, this is like he said it. If we lose our way with Halo, we lose our way with Xbox, and he meant that. So I feel like he's a nice guy. He doesn't hold anger. I'm sure he's just more.
So what's
really
the one thing you would ask Phil that
John?
They would need to change or improve? What would, if you were talking to him, what would you say?
Give me your job. No, I wouldn't say that. He's amazing at his job. I would say,
give me your job.
That's not a slight on Phil. Phil's amazing at his job.
He's freaking winning awards too.
I'd be terrible at that job. There's no way I would not last a day. Well, I would say, I mean, there's so many things, bro. Like, I just want, okay, just
what's the one thing you would request that they change about what they're doing?
One thing, just one thing. Okay, I'll tell you what. The main thing that makes a lot of difference in the discourse about Xbox in this medium, first party transparency of its first party studios. Their delivery of quality, all of them, is a reflection of Microsoft. So what you need to do is show off more. Like show off more of what your first parties are doing. If they're developer directs or like we've talked about it, like we're not even asking for much. Like we're so battered down as fans that we're like, a Fable flyover, please. Can we just look at the engine, please? Come on, sir, just a little bit, sir.
Just
like,
one screenshot, father. Just one farthing for a screenshot for me,
What about
Nickers.
screenshots, sir? Not blurry, please. Oh, just 3 seconds, please. Oh, come on. It's just like we're dying for something.
We really are.
The thing that's most exciting, I mean, on paper, Xbox is just doing so much better in its trajectory of first party exclusive. So we're excited. It just feels like you have all this ammo and you haven't fired it off yet because maybe you haven't refined it yet. This year you have to. You have no choice. So for me, I think for a lot of people, a lot of Xbox fans, like we just want to see the games. Like, show us. I get it. If it's not ready, don't show it. But then they should be ready. So I'm just like, this year, you have to. E3 this year, you have to. Chat, I swear to God, I will come from the top rope of heaven and elbow you in the face if you make excuses for Xbox not showing the first party.
I mean,
I do think
the developer direct says
really well.
The developer direct says a lot. You know, they've said, "Hey, join us for these 4 games," and that's it. And you're like, "Where are the rest of the games?" And like, the only answer is, "Oh, they're saving them for a real show." Like, this is such a small show.
Who's complaining about? I saw some people complaining about developer direct. No, guys, it was going to happen. We said it before. Colt said it a week before the show. Like, it was going to happen. The event. You made a video about it, and we knew about it. That's smart play. It's basically launching release dates. You're going to get them at the show. It would be stupid if you didn't. You definitely will for Forza and Redfall, and show off the games. That's fine. I would have liked an additional promised game. That would really show that Microsoft has so much that they have showed Avowed, for instance, in this developer direct when it didn't perhaps need to as much until E3. That would show that they're extra ready. I don't think they are.
This developer direct, if it is, like we've said here on the show, if the developer direct is, you know, they reach out to Arcane and say, "Hey, we're doing this developer direct. Can you provide 6 to 8 minutes of showcase footage? You guys provide the narration and the whatever you provide the voice and the visuals, and then we'll segment you in the game. We're gonna go call Turn 10 and ask them to do the same thing." If this means that Xbox is planning to do a 2 to 3 times per year a developer direct, which is basically the Nintendo Direct or the, what do they call it, the state of play. This is an opportunity for them to show games that have already been showcased, have already been at the big shows, but they're coming out before the big Christmas extravaganza in June. So I think that's what the developer direct is. I don't think it's a one-off. And maybe the developer direct is going to... What's that?
You said they're going to do this more often now.
Yeah, and maybe the Starfield, the next event, is also developer direct, and it may be just a Starfield only developer direct. And this is not unheard of. Nintendo and PlayStation have been doing this, and people enjoy them. So let me move forward. Rocker SMB with a 10-pound super says, keep up the amazing work you do, Colt. Thank you, Rocker. Says, hopefully you'll get Gaz to that level one day. Maybe. Gaz is already better than I am by a long shot.
By what? On what? Sorry.
Just with life, YouTube, women,
YouTube,
cooking, cleaning.
maybe.
You're a horrible cook. Boba Fett Gaming who's been a channel member for 8 months and a good friend. I love talking to him almost way too much. We talk all the time. Fahim Ahmed. Actually, Gaz, did Fahim Ahmed? Is that close?
Fahim Ahmed?
Thank you, Fahim Ahmed.
Thanks for giving me all the Muslim names. Fahim Ahmed. Yeah, he is. I can't see his super chat. Fahim Habibi Salam. I think I've seen the same Fahim. Yeah, sorry. I like that you came to me to not butcher the name, like so nice and like, hey guys, I don't respectfully like that. And there's me going, I'm such a disgrace to my own race.
I don't even know what I am. Thank you for the super. He says, The Last of Us 1 and 2 may have the best performed and best presented for story, I think he means. Dub, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He says, love the conversation on the game stories. Although I'll admit the Last of Us series are among my favorites. That said, I think one of the best stories of the last few years came from Ori.
Sorry, I see Dog Dark in chat. I love that guy. He makes me laugh.
Dub and I were having a moment. We were bonding over the somber and very heart-touching moments of Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and you're laughing about dank memes. Dark.
Shout out Dog Dark. Sorry, what was the question?
Oh, he just said Ori. Ori is one of his favorites that has like good story beats or a good story in games. It's kind of told
Ori is
through.
A very good one. Very emotional. Like it tugs at your heartstrings in a different way. Like,
I got it. Like in the intro right here. Music. I'm like, oh man, and the words
that's
were
a work
spoken.
of art.
Yeah,
it's like literally looking at it's auditory visual art. With canvas painting that's moving to these amazing scores. This cute characters, like just that's
really
great
good.
Great show.
Jonas the Dad, thank you for the $2. He says, I want Street Fighter on March 23rd, 2023. He said it needs 4K 60 FPS delay if needed. I don't know what Street Fighter 6 will run at, but that's a game I keep forgetting about. And I watched your Capcom post today where you posted from your video talking about how Capcom would fit in so nicely with Xbox, and good stuff there with the clips you used. Good editing. I like it.
Thank you, man. I'm working on one now. Spent 3 hours.
Did I lose you? Maybe. I'll check.
Chat.
Oh, there you're back.
Here?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
You're back. You were like, I took 3 hours to edit it, and you were like, I'm like, why is he judging me for that?
Yeah, your voice botted at like the last sound, and then I'm like, and then he died. It took 3 hours.
Oh shit, it was me. I just watched it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I just wanted to make sure that you weren't like giving me your life story and I couldn't hear it. Israel Bellet, thank you for the $2 super. Dave's Angels Gaming Heaven says, I'm one of the growing number of gamers who are the OG of gaming. I hope that gaming can mature in the same way gamers have alongside them. Well said. I totally agree. Dead Planet says, for being in third, Xbox has the bashfulness of number one. Of being in first place.
I don't know why they're so bashful. Yeah, that's the thing. You need to be aggressive. And they have, this year, aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, just you have to be aggressive. And they're showing. Be excited. Mm-hmm. That means we know you're ready. I think they've had a terrible management. Like all studios, even Playground Games with Fable, they have had problems. And all of them have had a terrible time. But I think it feels like they're coming out of it now. And they're finally finding their pace. And there's more pressure now on Xbox. And Matt Booty, like, what are you doing? Questions are being asked. What are you doing to manage these studios? We've got this ABK deal that's going to add more scrutiny from up top, from Satya Nadella. Like, right, what are we doing like here in this space? We chucked this much money in. Now this litigation is drawing over. How are we doing that? What's our perception like with the public? So it'll be just swings and roundabouts with Microsoft. Like they need a slap in the backside. But this year we should be seeing them really showing some really good stuff. I'm really excited. I genuinely am excited.
Mm-hmm.
After being annoyed at 2022, I'm just happy to look forward. And on paper, there's so much there. And then this is the year we get Redfall. Redfall and Starfield.
Redfall.
And Redfall also looks amazing. And Forza is going to kick the crap out of Gran Turismo. It should do. If it doesn't, I will be so salty.
Well, I don't know if it'll kick the crap out of it, but it will power break and burn out on its face. It'll be just smoke, tire smoke and rubber pellets all over his face, and then that'll be it. No, it'll be. I was on a show on Sunday. I was on Mads Gaming podcast yesterday, and it's quite apparent that Xbox is going to have the best year in 2023 that they've had in probably 7 years. Pretty crazy. I think even if Hellblade 3 doesn't make it in 2023, or if Stalker doesn't make it due to whatever they're going through, if they can't meet at least by December 2023, I think Xbox still has the best year that they've ever had, and then it's just going to keep going from there. Like those games didn't disappear. I think it's going to get
better and better. Honestly, they should do. They should do really well. If what you're saying is true and Microsoft intervening with Bethesda, that's a very good sign. There's no reason why Microsoft shouldn't do it. And this is why we keep saying it. Sometimes they don't know. I don't know why. $1 trillion company, they don't know. They listen to gamer sentiments. They're always disconnected, but even on managerial levels. But I hope they're doing that. If they did that, if what you're saying is true, and Bethesda would have released this game and Microsoft said no, but on the quality front, it would be incredible. That means that's a transformation. That's transformative in the management of Xbox Game Studios. It's a maturity which is needed, more so with the ABK deal impending, one day finalized, albeit delayed after.
Yeah, we saw it with PlayStation. Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok looked like they were done last year. Yeah. And they weren't. They waited and they came out with no problems. And Riskit has another superhero that kind of clarifies. Part of it I wholly agree with, because you can't go without saying. He says, thank you for this one, Riskit. He says, it seems the Xbox community and you guys are giving Xbox a pass to miss their public deadlines. I'm saying both are important, quality and on time as promised. And that is the one thing he says that it looks bad on their optics if Starfield doesn't release before June 2023, because they said in their big showcase, Gaz, that here are the games that are come out in the next 12 months. And
it's
now
it's quite Covenant.
So yeah, what do you think about that? It looks like
bad.
At least Starfield from their first party would be one that didn't make their promise.
It's a bad look. It looks bad. But what are you more concerned with? How good Xbox looks, or the brand looks, or how good the game is? And ultimately, if you're a fan of the game, I don't care. I mean, it's bad. We'll call them out for it. It just goes to show you justified 2022's absence on this 12-month plan. You justified the bad, or what in my opinion it was a bad Xbox showcase event, because you limited it to 12 months, and yet you didn't even you featured a game that didn't feature in that 12 months. Bad look. But it's Starfield. This is complicated. There's nuance there. Starfield, we want it. We want the best game. Don't rush it. Take your time. Get that right. That's all I mean, who cares about Microsoft? Look, Microsoft always shoots itself in the foot. Xbox always does. They will find multiple ways. One of these big games is going to flop or be really bad. Like, don't think all of them are going to bang. You've done this so many years, Cole, even with PlayStation. The Order 1886 was hyped to high heaven, ready at dawn, deliver this visually
Days
stellar
Gone,
game,
which I liked.
Yeah, I mean, it was going to kill Gears. And what happened to that? Even Shenmue 3, how many PlayStation guys hyped the hell out of that game that was on Kickstarter? Just forgotten. Shenmue 3, even The Last Guardian. One of those. These are the reason why I mentioned these games is because they were in that infamous E3 or the famous E3 for Sony, the big three: Final Fantasy VII, The Last Guardian, and Shenmue. The trifecta, and two of those three, in my opinion, just weren't good enough for the hype. The Last Guardian sucked ass. The camera was inside that big cat's butthole the whole time because it was so bad. Game was literally 10 years old when you played it. It's like but it had enough charm. I loved those games. I loved Ico, however you pronounce it. Just said.
Didn't they put out a game called Cat's Butthole like a few years, like last year?
Stray.
Yeah.
And I still need to play that. It's so boring.
Let me read Infinite Umbra's super because it follows along pretty well with what Riskit said. And thank you, Infinite. He says, "What's up, fellas? I learned my lesson with wanting Halo Infinite out when it was promised." So maybe Infinite was one of the guys that maybe we kind of tussled with back and forth about. He's like, "No, I want it now." He says, "Let Bethesda take all the time they need to give for Starfield." So
I was going to post, that video like a few months before they, when me and you were saying delay Halo, and everyone came at us, everyone. I was thinking of posting that video today and just say, hey, remember this? But that's just such.
But yeah, you don't even need to at this point. Yeah.
It's like, what do I
Let me
say?
put up another poll here. When will Starfield release? Give me 4 months to put in the poll here. Let's give the old March.
It's fine. Riskit says, I don't care about Microsoft. I care about holding their feet to the fire. What are we doing? All we're telling you is priority should be on delivering the quality game. It doesn't absolve Microsoft. We're not sitting there making excuses for them. That's the last thing we would do here. But it's like, just deliver. That's all I'm saying. But in terms of priorities go, who cares what they look like? Who cares about making more money? That's your super chat. Remember how you came to this conversation. Oh, just deliver 30 and fix it later. As a gamer, you don't want that. We're sick and tired of being delivered crappy, incomplete games that are broken for games that are hyped.
I mean, I can't hold
20 years in the making. Take your time, man. Fix that crap, and then deliver the madness in space so we can get danked and then play that game, and it'll be a whole new world.
I can't hold Bethesda's feet to the fire or Xbox about their release dates because I guess that would require me to ask them to go back 2 years and from then on, change how you do your development and make it more efficient and better and hire more people maybe, but it's not really that simple. And I'm not being patronizing when I say that. As far as holding their feet to the fire, I mean, I guess if I was to say you guys need to release your games faster or in a more consistent cadence, and they said they want to do that, but I just feel like the past 3 years have been such a nuclear mess, like just a radiation fallout of just problems and excuses and greedy, pushy publishers. I mean, that's Square Enix's biggest problem. That was CD Projekt Red's biggest problem. CD Projekt Red has an in-house publisher, and then they have their developers on them. And the in-house publisher standing over there going, hurry up, we want to get paid. And the devs are like, please, sir, please, if we put it out, it's going to look like this. And they're like, release it. And then it looks like this.
Well,
yeah. And I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm with, Umbra and Risk It and you in certain aspects. Like, they could release Starfield in March and it would have, like, it may have as many bugs as it was going to have a few months ago that are just like, oh gosh, look at that. Or, oh, I have to reload a save. Like, when's the last time your game is completely broken by a bug? People blow that stuff out of proportion. No excuses, but my point is they could probably release Starfield this spring and it would be fairly close to what it's supposed to be, but those problems can just add up.
I mean, exactly. Starfield, you have one chance at launch. You just have one chance. The moment. In this day and age, and the way the marketing works, viral marketing works anyway, look at what Elden Ring did, man. As soon as that came, that dominated the airwaves for like 4 weeks as far as social media was concerned. It cascaded down from core gamers to the point where the casuals were like, what is this game? because it came from us lot. Like, you know, it came from the Soulsborne, that niche. Then it hit us. All right. And then it hit everyone. And Starfield has that potential because space is that intriguing. It is the next, without sounding romantic here, it is the next frontier. It's what we look at in space that makes all our questions are answered up there if we know what the answers are.
To Major Tom. I know, bro. What? You know we're going to love it.
Yeah,
you got to get that right.
Yeah, just get it right. Maybe me be selfish as well. Like, I really want Starfield. I wanted the best game. I just want to be lost in it. I've just wanted the best experience day one. If it takes time, let it take time. If
you know what you haven't done?
Who cares if it's 3 months?
Yeah, well, I mean, it could be 9 months. You know, I don't know.
Well,
if it's September, what is that? Let me count on my fingers. Some people can do that off the top of their head. Okay, well, 7 months or whatever. What was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. You guys haven't done this, but I was drumming up my thumbnail today, and I had the trailer full screen on my OLED, and I was scrubbing through it and hitting pause to grab a screenshot to use so I'd have like a 4K screenshot. And while I was going through, Gaz, it's so funny how people say, oh, gosh, Starfield looks like such crap. Looks like a 360 game. Dude, I noticed things today.
I don't get it.
I've watched that trailer so many times, but I noticed things today. You need to watch it in full screen at full 4K and just pause it every once in a while. Just pick a time and pause
amazing.
it. It looks incredible. Just the pistol with the box magazine, like when he rotates it, it looks like
it looks amazing. I don't
and the
get
character's face. You know there's the guy with the shaved head, and he's like, he says something like, about your personality will get you out of a sticky situation. He's got like a shiny bald head, and his facial animations just look really good. And I was just looking at, there was a shot that no one sees because it's literally like half a second. It's a side view of the pilot, and he pushes a button while you're out in space flying around. It's just a quick jump cut to a side view of the pilot, and there's so much detail there. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's all completely in-engine. Whenever people on Twitter say, looks meh, looks mid, looks last gen, looks 360, I'm like, and mute, because you have no logical reason. I never want to hear from you again. You need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna fight them all because they just hit them back with their stupidity. Starfield looks great to me. Like, for the scale of the game, it looks great. It looks great. There's that bit where he's walking, you see the moon rover like there. It just looks amazing. Like I think graphically it looks amazing.
There's so much there.
Graphically is a big reason why I want to explore the world, because it looks so good. I don't know what people are complaining about.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It's amazing.
Detective Seeds. I don't know what that means, but I like it. Just do that sometime. Do me a favor, chat. If you ever like feeling, I'm thinking about Starfield for a minute. I wonder. There are so many things on the periphery in the shot that never get talked about, that Todd Howard didn't mention as he explained the game. They were just passing moments that you were meant to just get a visual idea of what the game is really phenomenally beautiful. Fahim Ahmed says, Gaz, wait, you have to read this.
Let me read that.
Yeah.
It says, Walaikum assalam, Habibi. Gaz and I, both South Asian Muslims, cheers to brutally butchering my name. Really enjoyed the discussion, Jess.
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm so sorry. But
don't be sorry.
I can pronounce Gaz's name. Yeah, I don't know. I just need to go travel abroad, and maybe I might learn a thing or two. Ace Out Gaming, thank you so much for the super. Says Colton, Gaz, there's levels to this, right, Doc?
There's levels to this. I'm doing my bad Doc impression. There's levels to this.
So
he looks blazed out every time he says it. There's levels to this. I love it.
The poll says the poll is mostly June 2023. But also in second is March, and then September. That's interesting.
I think September. March is the best. I think September.
Do you think it's really important for a developer or a publisher to drop a game after the summer season is over? Is that why July and August are out of the equation?
I think summertime, summer holidays, maybe that's what it is. There must be a reason why people settle on those months. But nowadays, the games market is so saturated. I feel like it's all about how much space you have amongst all the other games releasing and how much of your mind share you can have. So that's why I think September. I don't know what's coming out in September, but it feels like the right way. But I don't know.
I'll say one thing. I've done the math according to some of the release dates that we've seen for games recently, that Xbox would need to announce the Starfield Developer Direct event for mid-February if it's going to hit before June or July of 2023. I think there is a 4-month buffer from release date announced to release date for really massive games. God of War Ragnarok also did this. I think in July they announced the release date for November.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to count on my fingers again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Okay, yeah, 4 months. So keep that in mind before I move on to the next thing, that developer direct need to start hearing about that coming out in February if you think that game is going to release before the promise of June 2023. Let's talk about the next thing. Tim Dog has been talking about a possible rumor about...
Apparently,
what's that?
We might have missed some super chats. 3 super chats? I don't
3?
know if someone
Let me see here.
I don't know.
Let me roll up. Let me roll up. Wow.
DM them to us. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't see anything that I've missed, but on this show, my moderator does a really good job of screen capping every single one of them, and it's always up to me if I scroll past them. I'm looking, and so far I have everything. Give me 1 second, and I will go into my backup files. We'll go into the file cabinet, and we'll find if I missed anything. Gaz, I want you to talk about this. I don't even know when this is because I haven't followed, but there's an apparent Super Bowl ad for Starfield. Like, Starfield's actually going to be on the big TV. Have you heard about this? What do you know?
When is the Super Bowl? Wow, I've got reverb. When is the Super Bowl?
I wanted to look that up, but I'm also looking up. These super chats here.
I
think it is in a month or less than a month.
Okay.
Let me Google Super Bowl 2000. I'm sorry that I don't know that. By February 12th. So right around the time that I said they need to have this developer direct. So
February 16th is when the Super Bowl is. 12th Feb is now, apparently. Give me the right dates! Okay, I dead planning give the wrong date. It's February 12th.
Mm-hmm.
So the 12th of Feb is when you're going to see that. This is a big game. You need to start marketing it. Are you unless Microsoft opts for this very bold, which I don't think doesn't suit Starfield's marketing of just a month. Well, it makes no sense. Why would you give one of your biggest games a month to market? So, like, you take,
right.
It'll be June at the earliest. You need about 4 or 5 months. Really heavy marketing. I don't know. Maybe they'll do. It depends on your marketing strategy. Microsoft wants to go just 1 month of go mad, build hype. We know the Game Pass people are there. Just go start crazy marketing this because people have shorter attention spans. Makes sense. I don't have metrics or data in front of me, but that could happen. It's good. It's finally Redfall got advertised on YouTube, on CGI, and everything, and loads of videos after it got revealed in the CGI trailer 2 years ago. But then it stopped. The marketing hasn't really started for Redfall. I can't really see much. I'm not seeing much on YouTube.
I mean, at least they're talking about it. The Redfall account has been talking on social media. They did that amazing interview you and I did videos on. Your video was better than mine. And it was so good. They're ready. Redfall's ready. And as far as we know, It's like May 3rd or something, based off of leaked information. So we're going to hear that. Yeah. I think next week or in a week and a half. Let me look. What day is the Developer Direct? 25th? Yeah, a week and a half. A week and 2 days is the Developer Direct from right now. If you're watching the show on the 16th of January. So that's when we'll get the release date for Forza and Redfall and Minecraft Legends, which we think is in March, according to Jez. He's been digging around and sniffing around to see what's going on. And then a couple little surprises. But yeah, Super Bowl ad. I mean, I would like to be at the gym and see an Xbox commercial up on the screen that wasn't like people dancing around playing Game Pass on their futons. That's what they used to do on TV.
TV ads are not. Who watches TV anymore? Chat. How many kids watch TV anymore? Like mid-30s, even us. I don't watch TV anymore. I watch streaming services. They don't have ads, thank God, yet. Depending on
some of them do. Some of them you pay. YouTube. You pay for some, and they have ads. Every commercial break.
YouTube is a pretty big one. Like, in person, those are good for the mass market. Like on buses, like here in the UK, you get those iconic Halo 2 ones, like on the buses. That was amazing. That definitely had an impact. But yeah, who cares, man? It's advertising.
Spend the money. If it's cheaper now to put commercials on TV because not as many people are watching broadcast TV, spend the money. Put them out there. Like just make a marketing commercial. Put it on TV. It can also be put on YouTube. It can be pushed onto Twitter as a promotional tweet. Like, just do it. Print out Todd Howard in a space helmet and put it on a bus. I want to see a bus go by and it's Todd Howard saying, "It just works." I just want to. That's what I want.
Someone called, I think Jordan James in chat says, because a lot of football fans are sci-fi Bethesda fans. Fair enough, but I think with even here in the UK, we know about your sci-fi, your Super Bowl ads. Not necessarily a Super Bowl, but your ads. There's a level of prestige attached to those Super Bowl ads. So I feel like, we're talking about it. We're talking about it right now.
Even the most diehards football fans are looking forward to the commercial breaks because they have a good laugh. I end up watching half for the game when it's not my team and for the commercials. But I remember, 15 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever it was. I will spend
$100 million on advertising a free game.
Hey, shout out to 900 people who are here watching Gaz and I talk about commercials. But Gaz, I remember when we were talking about Mass Effect at the beginning of the show, I remember at my in-laws' house we were watching, I think it might have been Super Bowl or Monday Night Football, and they did a commercial break and they showed the CGI trailer for Mass Effect 2. Do you remember it? It had Ashley when she had the straight hair, and it had Thane and then the default Commander Shepard, and they got into cover and he threw a ball of biotics over, and it was all like computer graphics. It wasn't in engine. You don't remember it. It was really nice looking. Like
I remember the Mass Effect 1.
Oh, you do? I didn't know that existed.
Whoa, the Mass Effect 1 was this event. The Mass Effect 1 ad for initial ad, because you saw this the Reaper. That's a Reaper. That's a very accurate Reaper. I'm just doing that on camera right now. Chat, give you props to that Reaper. Reaper is basically an ad.
Say
Reaper. That ad is the Reaper. I remember when they showed it off, everyone's like, "Yo, look at this game. That just looks crazy sci-fi." And then it showed immediately, got people hyped. That's a good point. Mass Effect 1 ad campaign was huge. Like, not even ad campaign, the reveal. It was so big. Who remembers that? All the people remember that was big. But yeah, sorry. It will not release on my birthday. I won't release on my birthday. Well, that'll be August. So, CYBU with a $2 super chat. Let's just see. How many days left? Less than 10 days till we finally get a look at Redfall in detail and Forza. And it's not even the big games. Well, Forza is. Redfall is pretty cool as well. We did the video we talked about earlier about how much more there is to Redfall than you might think. That's exciting, but they're on the I don't want to discredit their work, but they're not the mad exciting ones. I mean, the big one is Redfall, Starfield. But yeah, it's gonna be. I'm excited, man. I'm just being positive. I genuinely am. Not because people are like, yeah, you like don't complain. I just genuinely am positive because I'm
playing
2022
Andromeda
is
because
finished.
I'm playing Andromeda because I want to be in space so bad. But it's just weird how much I'm honestly really enjoying the playthrough.
A lot of people
so
interested
funny.
in space now as well. Generally, I've seen the mass populace as well. They're really intrigued in space. The younger crowd are really, which is kind of nice. Because that's the next frontier, I keep saying. But yeah, it's just can't wait. I can't wait. ABK is obviously going to get cancelled after today. They just found out that the EU Commission is also going to be rallying to block the deal or
well, it sounds like they're going to be
something.
pushing hard to get those
Antitrust
concessions,
warning.
right?
Yeah.
It's
We'll
all
get
about
it.
those concessions. And maybe everything's going to keep going the way it's supposed to go. I think that's maybe where it's sitting. You and I are so sick of the ABK stuff, but you're really well versed in this.
I'm not.
Not in that. In this. This is my segue.
Oh,
Skull and Bones has been delayed yet again, possibly indefinitely, or I don't know what's going on with Ubisoft. But you talked about this at length on Go Live on Saturday. What situation is Ubisoft in, and are they ripe for the purchase from one Xbox Game Studios?
not Xbox. Xbox would be stupid to buy Ubisoft. Don't do it. Amazon will buy them. If they're for sale, Amazon will buy them. Ubisoft as a studio, like their value, their publisher. Guess how much their value is? They're worth less than Bungie. With all
Ubisoft
their IP,
is
2.8 billion apparently. That's how much they're
I'll
worth.
double check it.
2.8 billion, less than Bungie. Like you got look at the IPs. Assassin's Creed, the Tom Clancy. 2.56, like that's nothing. And so sorry chat, we just barrel through without explaining the topic for those who don't know. Ubisoft's CEO, chairman, whatever, Yves Guillemot has literally fired out an email to his staff saying the future of the company is in your hands now. It's in dire straits. I'm paraphrasing here, and this bit is my insertion, but it is in dire straits. And they're like, this is a critical year. And then they cancelled 10 of their unannounced games. And then they've said, we're going to focus on the big tentpole franchises. Assassin's Creed. They did tease Splinter Cell and those games. I'm like, right. So Ubisoft, to me, they are a victim of their own circumstances. Yves Guillemot telling his staff, it's in your hand. Actually, it's in the management's fault that you guys relied on the big, like, recycle machine all this time, and then now you're blaming the staff, like, fix up. And what about the AA space? You know, you guys your formula is mocked in the industry as the Ubisoft formula, as a copy lazy mode that everyone copies. Yes, people have an affinity with it, but look how out of touch you were. That now you're listening, now you're delivering Assassin's Creed Mirage, which they have said they wouldn't exist if it wasn't for fan feedback asking for that series to go back. But then you're going making other Assassin's Creed games that don't build up.
Well, it's actually crazy that Assassin's Creed Mirage is already ready to release this year, right? Because Origins was when they really broke it open into a big RPG. Because Assassin's Creed was really great and then kind of fell down, and then they picked it back up with the Origins in 2017. Odyssey capitalized on that, and then Valhalla, I feel, just really watered it down, even though a lot of us liked it. But they're already ready with a repair bill, I suppose, right? I mean, you and I are both looking forward to Mirage.
Mirage is, but what about the future trajectory of Ubisoft? What about the creativity? It's gone. Like, they're just going to be focusing on the Assassin's Creeds, and Mirage is just the exception. The other two games are back to their RPG Valhalla.
Oh yeah, we forgot about those. The the cafeteria tray of Assassin's Creed games that they presented last year. Yeah, I forgot.
Exactly. And the other two on following Mirages. If, in my opinion, if Ubisoft understood the actual problem, the answer they would have given is this. We understand that, we've delivered these franchises, but we're going to be innovating to go back to the core strengths of them. Because they actually alluded to this. They alluded to this 2 years ago, where they acknowledged the critique that their games are quite rote and copy and paste template based experiences, but they never delivered in delivering a proper unique reformat of their formula. So it's like, if it's not broke to them, why not fix it? But it is essentially creatively defunct, and people are getting a bit bored. So yeah, let's see what happens. Mirage, I hope it's delivered well, made by a team of individuals that actually understands the core of the formula. They aren't just assigned to this task of delivering Assassin's Creed 1 but modernized. I hope there's a core group that since its inception, since its release of Assassin's Creed 1 has been sidelined or has to be dealing with these RPG-esque checklist, whatever Assassin's Creed's morphed into. And then they're like, look, we can make this game. We know what these guys are talking about. We know what the fans want. Let us work on this. If that's the group of people and the mentality of the team building Assassin's Creed Mirage, great. But I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, one of their problems is they have thousands of employees. I don't remember what the number was, but somebody comes up with an idea, like a location for an Assassin's Creed game, and then they kind of they keep building, stacking features and things upon things until they get this massive Assassin's Creed game, and then they just put all these B workers to work on it. I mean, isn't that kind of what it seems like? That's what you get with Ubisoft. They make the best looking games, some of the best looking games, and I think at times Odyssey, Origins, or even Valhalla it is one of the best looking games you're gonna play on a console. Like, bar none. It is most detail, really beautiful. But
do you know them for those? Would you associate that with them?
20,000.
They deliver pretty enough games. Pretty enough.
I mean, they are nice. They are very nice looking.
Like Far Cry, nice looking games, but they're not like, wow, mind blowing.
Yeah, Far Cry isn't. I mean, I've got vistas in Valhalla, Odyssey, and Origins that rival almost every game. Almost every game. Like,
really?
If you were going to put up, I mean, I've got probably in those three games, I probably have about 400 hours in those three games.
Yeah, because you play them more than me, so I don't like the formula.
You need to play them. Dude, they're beautiful. Dude. If you were going to put up the most incredible semi-realistic screenshot of a video game up for award, I think you could pick one of the latter Assassin's Creed games, and then you might see Horizon Forbidden West in there. You'd probably see God of War Ragnarok. Maybe you'd see Spider-Man. Maybe you'd see Gears 5. I've got some vistas in Gears 5 that blow most games out of the water. They're really talented. But if it's true that Finessiful said, if I got that name right, hold on, I'm just doing it off memory. Yeah, Finessiful J said 20,000 if he remembers correctly. And I picture Ubisoft as the Warner Brothers Studios, like warehouses of people like this.
ABK is 10,000. No. How's Ubisoft have 20,000?
They are huge. So they have, they're all separated. They have a Montreal studio, a Quebec studio.
And they're worth 2.5 billion versus ABK's 10K.
Oh, he's right. 21,000. I just looked it up. Of course, it's not 21,000 devs, but they have a massive marketing arm and just.
I know my friend works there. There's a lot there, a lot of contractors, lots of stuff there. But
my friend probably works there. 21,000 people.
21,000.
Hardy Chani's in the chat. He says 20,000.
20,000 versus I think ABK is 10. No.
And what is 343? How many people work at 343?
I don't know.
Or we're working on that game.
2.
Like 500 people.
Is so minuscule compared to the money paid for Bungie, paid for ABK, even ZeniMax. Like,
you ready for this? Let's see if I
crazy.
can find an answer to how many people worked on 2018's in Greek Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Let's see if I can get an answer. I don't know.
I just started AC
wonder how many.
Origin 6 years too late, says Selfish Burrito. Thank you for the €6 super chat. Assassin's Creed mixed with Witcher and Tomb Raider. It's
Oh, my
incredible.
world.
Excited for the 100 journey.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla was the work of 17 studios. It says from 17 studios to 1,000.
What?
A massive collaborative effort with 17 studios around the world working together to quickly adapt to working under the pandemic.
Yeah, it was a pandemic.
Try to see how many people worked on it. I mean, Dealers said that for years. Dealers dug into the information with Ubisoft because he really loves their games, same as I do, and he's like, you got to remember that it's like thousands of people have worked on those games, and they look great. They just have to. You're right. They are out of. You said that a few minutes ago. They are out of touch.
Yeah.
We do like to methodically go through the map and clear things out, but I feel like it's like 2 times too many when I open up the map.
Yeah.
Even with this Mass Effect Andromeda, I look on the map and I'm like, there's too many things here. And you guys, you don't remember that. If you haven't played it, you haven't remembered. You land on, there's like 5 main planets you can keep landing on, and there's stuff to do there, and there's caches, elements, little side quests, little fetch things, and they're all over the maps. Like, it's such a huge map. Just driving to it, it just becomes too much. And I like that they're pairing it back with Mirage, but so Xbox is going to buy Ubisoft.
I don't think they should. A big publisher level stuff just wouldn't make sense. But maybe if Ubisoft fail, because it's make or break for them, then they might sell off some IP. So
Yeah.
Tom Clancy's, that's big. Assassin's Creed is huge. Amazon should buy them if they want to. Really, they could offer double their value right now. $5 billion. Boom, done. Shareholders will take that, I assume. Or 3 times that. It's still a steal compared to everything else for Amazon, but it's not for fit. Buy Capcom, Microsoft. I know it's hard. I don't know if it's even possible. As a Japanese company, would they even want to be sold?
They're shopping for a Japanese company. I like your idea for Capcom. I think it's a good idea.
I think Capcom would be huge.
And I like your idea of Amazon buying Ubisoft because we still get the games. Nothing will change. They just need, I don't know, different management, I suppose.
I mentioned Koei Tecmo as well. That's a really good one because they've got lots of variety there. But
Selfish Burrito, thank you for the $6 super. He says, I just started AC Origins 6 years too late. It's one of my favorites. He says, AC mixed with Witcher and Tomb Raider. It's incredible. Excited for the 100-hour journey. Gaz, have you played very much of Origins?
No. I said I started out and it was the tutorial in a pyramid, and then the combat with this gladiator that comes out.
Yeah.
And I thought,
bro.
this game sucks.
No, dude, it's so
I have to
good.
bear through it.
You go in.
I've got it installed. But.
I mean, I thought, this is like a mature Zelda game when I played it, because where you swipe is where you're going to attack. Yeah, and there's tiered gear, there's loot. You have numbered enemies. You'll come up to enemies that have a skull over them, and you're like, and you have to run because they will one shot you. And the world is beautiful.
Okay,
you ride around on a camel or a horse. Dude, I don't keep saying dude. It's so incredible. And it is 4K 60 on Series X. So you get 60. It is one of the best looking games. It's amazing. KY Bob, who's a good friend and has been a channel member. He is the longest channel member I've had on my channel.
Oh, really?
The first channel member.
Mine. Same.
38 months. Well. He says, Colt and Gaz, Starfield in May or June. You both are fire. Keep it up.
Shout
May
out
or
to
June.
KY Bob, earliest supporter. June at the earliest. Could be March. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
I think it's after that, but yeah, I think it's slipped the 12-month.
I think it might have too. I just hope it's not too much. And like I asked you, like if they have to get away from the summer months and push it to the late summer, early fall, because that makes more sense. Kind of bums me out. And I'm going to say something. I'm going to say
Okay.
something strange, but it's kind of important. Someone asked me, "Are you more frustrated that Starfield isn't in your hands sooner, or that as an Xbox content creator you have to communicate or take some of the blunt of the force that Starfield isn't releasing when they said they would?" And it's selfish for me to say I want Starfield as soon as possible, but I know I'll get to play it eventually when it comes out. But as a content creator, because I've covered Starfield since it's been showcased, I'm always talking about where Xbox is, and that part really makes it difficult for me. Do you know what I mean, guys? Because you cover Xbox, like, it's not my responsibility if Starfield gets delayed, but I get to hear about the complaints like I'm one of the sounding boards. That's I don't know.
That's a you problem. I'll be the one complaining at you.
There you go. There you go.
I'll be one of the problems for you.
And it's also partially my fault because I thought at one point Starfield was coming out in 2021, and then they promised it in 2022, and then they delayed it into 23, and I thought, oh, it's got to be like a couple months into the year. So all the times I've said that, right? Frank Kett says, Colt feeling that backlash. Absolutely. Like, no one is yelling at Todd Howard. Todd Howard isn't listening. Like, you can't go on his Twitter and yell at him. He's not going to hear it. So yeah, and it's partially my fault because I really did think, and like, I don't say stuff just to say it. Like, I really feel at a certain point, like right now, I really feel like Starfield's going to be September. And if they push it to November, do I have to deal with the backlash? I don't know. I guess it comes with the territory. Let me read one more super here. Hargeet Johnny says, he's got two supers here. He says, better for someone like Take-Two or EA to buy Ubisoft. Thank you, Hargeet. He also says, he says, Gaz, I totally disagree with Capcom. Too strong, no need to be acquired, too many Western-focused games. Square is the obvious choice, or Sega is really good too.
Sega, yes. Square, no. Square are disgusting. One, the lack of synergy between Microsoft and Square will be so abundantly obvious. Two, we talked about how Square treat their own Western studios. They don't care. Yes, I understand the utility of having Western RPGs and Western-based game. Not Western, sorry. Far East Asian games like your RPGs, and primarily we're talking about Final Fantasy. Let's be real. But Square are absolute arse-hats, the way you guys say it, to work for or be under. There's no synergy. They've been in bed with PlayStation for years. You think they can just chop that off? Nah. I get what you're saying, but they just wouldn't work. I don't think Microsoft and Square would work. I think Square that's just shit. Sorry, my bad. Keep swearing.
Well, the problem is the games that
is terrible.
They're games that underperform are the ones I like. The ones that do well are Final Fantasy, which I don't like. So for me, you can't. You do.
I know, but it's what in terms of what. Look, let's be real, people. Microsoft doesn't need any more studios. It doesn't even need ABK. It doesn't. It doesn't need ABK. It's fine as it is now. It absolutely is. There's 25 or God knows how many studios. Like, doesn't matter. Microsoft needs none. But in this space where there's consolidation galore, they'd be stupid to just sit back and be completely docile when everyone's consolidating. And in Japan, Microsoft is now all in on gaming, right? What does that mean? It needs to make inroads in regions where it's completely failed, which is why Hargeet mentioned Square. But in that sense, Microsoft needs to broaden its horizons, and it doesn't need to be a traditional one. I think Capcom, I disagree with your assessment there. Capcom, it does both. Monster Hunter World is massive in Japan. Resident Evil, still big in Japan. Street Fighter is big everywhere. Evo, even though it's a small consideration, is still, in terms of optics, a Microsoft fighting game. Street Fighter associated with Xbox would be huge. The fallout would be ridiculous.
They would keep it multi-plat, wouldn't they?
Guys. But even if it doesn't, it's an Xbox game. They'll keep it multi-plat. Yeah. I don't think that it's feasible. I don't think Capcom is feasible, but if it possibly, at one point I would have said the same thing about ABK. Like, there's no way. 70 billion, you must be joking. Microsoft will never spend that money, especially in gaming. Boom, done, they do it. So, like, There's a lot there.
Hold on. Frank Kent in the chat said Xbox has bought devs that they don't synergize. They've never synergized with before, which is completely incorrect. And then he says the old classic. He says they turned Rare into a shovelware factory for years.
That's not true.
That is absolutely not true.
Behind Rare. Rare's key part is departed anyway. It was on the downward spiral. That's why Nintendo shaved them off. That wasn't the case.
They made so many little. They were the epitome of shovelware back in the day with the Nintendo 64. They made like 30 games that are in Rare Replay, and you play them, you're like, yeah, I won't play that for a second. They had some classics in there, but
if you follow the history of Rare, they were going away by the wayside before Microsoft even acquired them.
Yeah,
if you actually dig deep into their history. That's just complete falsehood. Microsoft, yes, sustained delivery of good products. That's where they failed, because they partitioned them to connect sports games and didn't deliver anything. They had made amazing IPs. They didn't do anything, and then they gave them a chance with Sea of Thieves, and Sea of Thieves even hit in ways that it wasn't supposed to.
Okay, let me tell you a quick story. Lately, I've been gaming more with my two of my kids than I have anybody. It's been phenomenal. Okay. And the other day I was like, hey, do you guys want to go sail out and Sea of Thieves? And they're like, all right, because we play it once in a while. And the first thing we do is I'll try to keep this interesting, but my son runs out. The first thing he does is goes to the merchant and customizes a ship in like this Battletoads / green and gold thing, and it looks really awesome because it has to be reset every time. So he gets the shit all set up, and we get our music things out. We get up and we bring the anchor out and we go out on the water. And we're not whatever. We'll just do a quest, but we're just there to hang out together. And I'm playing the hurdy-gurdy. My daughter's playing the banjo, and my son's playing the accordion thing, whatever that's called. And we're playing this music on the deck, and the game looks absolutely incredible on an LG OLED at 120 frames with HDR, and we're just like experiencing the world. Now, the reason why I tell you that is people are like, Rare is shovelware, Rare has lost their way. I'm not a big Sea of Thieves fan. I don't play the content the way that people normally play it, but that experience that you get from a game like Sea of Thieves is unbelievable. My kids and I were playing music, and I said, we're on the headset, and I said, okay, I'm going to start the song, and when I count down from 4, I want you to join in with your instrument, and then you. And I waited until like a couple of measures were done, and then I had them go in, and my kid is in band, and we start kind of doing the music together, and I had this really great moment. Like, I got emotional, which is so weird. So I'm playing this derpy game. I'm with my kids. The game looks phenomenal. It's got this creative part to it. It's so amazing. I cannot wait to see what Rare does with Everwild. Wherever they're at, that is like magic in a bottle waiting to be unleashed. Whatever that game is. And then I said, hey, do you guys want to see what it's like to be on I can't remember what the big ship that's for 4 people. I said, let's just do one, even though
Galleon?
It's us 3. I think it's called the Galleon, yeah. And it put us in with a guy, and the guy some random guy came over, and he was talking, but we were in party chat, so we couldn't hear him. So his character's mouth was like, and then he was doing something like making mad motions, like, what are you doing on my ship? And we went over, and I was directing my kids, and we were raising the sails, turning the sails, bringing up the anchor. He started to help us, and we went and helped him on a quest. And he kept doing like the emotes, like thank you. And we hung out with this guy with no voice, no party chat. It was so incredible. I'm just here to say Frank Kent's wrong. And I'm not a Sea of Thieves fan. I'm not a Sea of Thieves fan.
No, you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, in that video that I made a while ago about what's the state of Microsoft Studios, where I was critiquing them all, and I said, what happened with Everwild? You literally restarted the thing. But then I said, hold on. In the video, I literally say, Rare is that company that you can't control them. Like, you can't control them or have expectations on normal like measurements, because they're so extremely creative. Their drive to deliver something that hasn't been done. I mean, Viva Pinata, that was like very different. Even Nuts and Bolts, that was very different, like very unique. This is a studio that you just need to let them do what they want. And because their drive to deliver something unique is there. And Sea of Thieves represents that. That game got basically saved by the streaming community, Summit 1G, who was showing everyone, look how fun this game is, and the world PvP, and just how trolling people with it. Just he blew that game up to the stratosphere because the game naturally gave you the tools. Rare had built this beautifully dynamic world with seeping character. They scratched the surface of the potential, but they did it. And that's a success. And that's Rare. That delivers Everwild. That looks so beautiful, man. Like, but you don't know what it is. They didn't know what it was. But they tell you what, they love their shrooms there. They're on all kinds of illegal drugs, psilocybin, all of that. They are there. DMT, I'm sure they're taking DMT every day. And that's a good thing for the creativity of this game. So Everwild, I don't want to be too harsh with them because I view them as a rare gem, pun intended. Like, they are a gem. And let those kind of studios are brilliant. Let them just foster talent and just flourish on their own accord. Like before,
well said. And I'm not a Rare fan. I'm not really a Rare fan. I'm not really a Sea of Thieves fan, but it's incredible. Let me read 2 supers. We're gonna get out of here. Risk It for Biscuit says, Gaz, I agree. Capcom is the best of both worlds. Highlander says,
I don't think it's feasible. It's a fanciful wish. Like up there. I made a video on Sony, what studio Sony should acquire. I even mentioned Capcom for Sony. It makes more sense for Sony. More synergy. It does. Japanese. Boom. And if they bought it, massive for competition. But then give us Street Fighter for 10 years plus, like Call of Duty. Shout out to Hogue, by the way. He's recovered from his stroke. He's back. It's so nice to see his tweet. He's got a hard, arduous road of recovery ahead and rehab. But shout out to him. Shout out to his wife. That's the kind of wife you need in your corner.
And the community. The community stepped up big time.
Huge.
They raised a lot of money. Yeah. Yeah,
he needs it because rehab in America is not cheap. So, I hope he recovers, man, because it's going to be a bit difficult for me personally to see him struggle to communicate if that's the case. But he's a fighter. God willing, he will fight through that, and he will be there speaking about us and educating us for 3 years about this ABK deal that will not be done.
In 3 years, right?
3 years, 2027. It's just like, oh
my gosh, 2077. Yeah, there you go. Highlander, thank you for the 5. He says Microsoft needs to hire a full-time PR team and put more effort into marketing of games and sponsor a race team for Forza. Well, I mean, I just want to race at home. So Risk It for the Biscuit got the last one. He says, as Hogue says, people reasonable minds can differ, and that's so true. I was talking to Risk It last couple nights ago about Starfield and the possibilities 60 or where it's going to be, and I'll probably make a very big video on that if I have some time this week between work. But thank you everybody for being here. Hit the like button if you had a good time, and maybe if you learned something or if you just had a good time. Gaz, thank you so much.
420 likes. 420 exactly.
420. Do the Yeah, thank you so much for supporting the show. This is episode 85. Thank you, Gaz, for being here. I really appreciate it. Let's let you get to sleep and put your head on your pillow.
Yeah.
Tell everybody goodbye and what you're doing. And hello.
Shout out to everyone. It was a bit of a slow news day. There wasn't much to talk about. So we just talked randomly. Sorry, chat, but there's literally nothing. Unless you want to talk about PlayStation all the time. It's like, but next week, we're going to be...
we'll be days from Developer Direct next week.
And you're gonna hear some things, and it's gonna be very interesting. So I can't wait. Like, it's not even E3. This is how starved we are. I'm excited about this show.
Please, Father, just a one screenshot, just a reflection off of Drew Mary's glasses. Please, Father. Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to everyone. Please check out the channel Game On Daily, one word, on YouTube. I'm working on a video next. PlayStation versus Xbox, the battle for exclusives in 2023 this year. So please check that out. Check out GameOnDaily.com, and thank you for watching. I love you all.
Thank you. We're gonna leave, and Gaz will say like he always does. I'll say be nice, and Gaz will say,
I'm naked.